when the United States began tightening its grip over the Caribbean, arming allies, encircling Venezuela, and signaling dominance over what Washington still calls its backyard, Moscow answered in a language the West fears most: hypersonic firepower. In early November, reports from The Telegraph confirmed what Western intelligence had only speculated for months. Russia is preparing to send its newest hypersonic missile, the Oreshnik, to Venezuela. Capable of carrying both conventional and nuclear warheads and impossible to intercept by any existing US or NATO air defense, the Oreshnik represents a new phase in global deterrence, one where Russian technology now speaks from across the Atlantic. The Oreshnik is not just another missile in Russia's arsenal. It is the culmination of Moscow's two-decade pursuit of strategic invulnerability. Described as a medium-range hypersonic ballistic missile, it can reportedly strike any target in Europe within an hour when launched from Russia or Belarus. With potential deployment to Venezuela, that same reach now extends to every American military installation across the Caribbean and southern United States. The Oreshnik first showed its power in Ukraine. On November 21, 2024, a missile launched from Astrakhan struck critical infrastructure in Dnipro. It was the first known use of the system, a strike that demonstrated its precision and speed while evading every layer of Ukrainian and Western-supplied air defense. Since then, the Oreshnik has joined Russia's broader family of strike weapons, standing beside the Kalibr cruise missile, the Kinzhal, and the Burevestnik. According to Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov, the Oreshnik gives Belarus, and by extension any Russian ally equipped with it, the ability to feel safe literally tomorrow. In Venezuela, that safety translates into power projection. President Nicolas Maduro, facing growing U.S. military activity in the Caribbean, personally reached out to Vladimir Putin for assistance. The request was direct. Maduro wanted hypersonic deterrence, restoration of Venezuela's Su-30 Mk-2 fighters, and an expanded air defense network with 14 new missile systems. Putin's response was swift and symbolic. At an awards ceremony for weapons developers, he announced that Russia had begun mass production of the Oreshnik and that the Sarmat intercontinental missile, known to NATO as Satan II, would enter combat service next year, as reported by Uncensored News Telegram channel by November 5th. The message was unmistakable. Russia's new generation of strategic weapons was no longer experimental, it was operational. Besides the Oreshnik, it was reported that Kalibr missiles will also be sent to Venezuela. The Kalibr, already a proven weapon, continues to appear in combat records. For the record, on September 26, 2025, during one of Russia's largest combined strikes, Kalibrs were launched alongside Kinzhals and Kh-59s, striking 15 Ukrainian regions. By November 8th, Kalibrs from the Russian Navy were again hitting targets deep inside the Kyiv region. These attacks showed that Russia's strike complex operates in layers: long-range, multi-speed, and multi-domain. Soon, those layers may stretch across the Caribbean waters. The alliance between Russia and Venezuela is not new, but the weapons now under discussion elevate it to a different level. State Duma member Alexei Zhuravlyov told Russian media that there are no obstacles to supplying a friendly nation with such new developments as the Oreshnik or with the well-proven Kalibr missile. His words were consistent with reports from IDN Financials, which described the Oreshnik as a medium-range hypersonic ballistic missile designed to carry nuclear payloads, and the Kalibr as a dual-capable cruise missile. Back then, Soviet missiles took hours to reach the U.S. mainland. Today, a hypersonic launch from Venezuela could do it in minutes. Maduro seeks Moscow's backing to deter any American interference, while Russia sees Venezuela as a strategic outpost, a launch pad for influence and deterrence in the Western Hemisphere. Every U.S. missile base near Eastern Europe now faces its reflection on America's southern doorstep. For the Pentagon, the rise of the Oreshnik presents a challenge that conventional power cannot solve. America's layered missile defense systems consisting of THAAD, Aegis, and Patriot are built to intercept ballistic or cruise missiles on predictable trajectories. The Oreshnik doesn't fly predictably. Its glide phase, traveling at Mach 9, involves sudden altitude changes and unpredictable flight paths. By the time radar detects it, the missile is already halfway to its target. Even without a warhead, its kinetic energy alone would cause catastrophic damage. In this new era, reaction time has become irrelevant. U.S. commanders in the Southern Command privately acknowledge that regional air defenses are limited to short-range interceptors. Against hypersonic weapons, these systems are ineffective. Washington's remaining options are early detection and political containment, neither of which can stop a missile already airborne. What makes this moment more significant than a standard arms deal is its timing. While the West stretches itself thin, funding Ukraine and expanding operations in the Pacific, Russia has shifted its posture. It is no longer just defending its borders, it is exporting deterrence. By sending Oreshnik missiles to Venezuela, Moscow is signaling that Russian strategic reach is now global. From Kaliningrad to Caracas, from Murmansk to Maracaibo, a belt of influence is forming, defined by mutual protection and shared resistance to American dominance. For Venezuela, this means immunity from direct U.S. intervention. For Russia, it means a forward bastion of power, a symbolic echo of Soviet projection reborn in modern form. The Western Hemisphere is becoming contested again, not by ideology, but by capability. In the same ceremony where Putin praised the Burevestnik missile for surpassing all others in range, he warned that no adversary should expect to strike Russia or its allies without consequence. With the Oreshnik now poised for deployment in the Caribbean, that consequence has found a new address. As 2026 approaches, this potential deployment will mark a turning point. The arrival of Oreshnik missiles in Venezuela, if realized, will signify the end of America's uncontested dominance in its own hemisphere. It will represent the rebirth of great power parity, where deterrence now works both ways. That's for today's episode. See you on another report from the battlefield.